Well, in a moment, we'll be discussing Black Lives Matter UK with one of its activists and a woman who works in youth engagement. But first, there have been dramatic developments in Chicago over the shooting by police of 18-year-old Paul O'Neill a week ago. The death of the young African-American had resulted in protests in the city. And today, the police released their own video of the incident at the request of the young man's family. Harry Smith reports.
It was the deadly end to this car chase, which led to yet another police shooting, which has shocked America. Pictures taken from police body cameras have been released just days after the incident. It ended with the death of 18-year-old Paul O'Neill. He was shot in the back, allegedly fleeing from a stolen car. The pictures show a chase on foot through normally quiet suburban backyards. A scene of chaos and confusion.
Hey, no.
Your head right back!
Shoot at us. Hey, you okay, brother? 464 emergency. Can we get EMS?
One policeman asks another, "They shot at us too, right?" The officer who opened fire says, "I shot at the car after it almost hit you. He almost hit my partner."
You shot too? Huh? You shoot? Yeah. You?
And they shot at us too, right?
One. I shot at the car after it almost hit you.
The family of the man who died viewed the pictures along with their lawyer, who said they just watched the execution of their loving son.
Because what I saw was a cold-blooded murder. It was a cold-blooded killing. You don't even shoot, and you shouldn't shoot, dogs that are running away.
The pictures have been made public by the Independent Police Review Authority, which is charged with investigating police misconduct. Campaigners say not all the images have been made public, but investigators say it will form only part of their inquiry, which is now going on.
Well, I'm joined now by Elliott-Cooper, who's an activist with Black Lives Matter UK, and by Aziza Francis, a former regeneration officer with Lambeth Council and a youth engagement specialist. Adam, let me start with you. I mean, that Chicago footage that we've just seen is truly shocking. Can you imagine anything like that happening here?
I mean, it is very, very harrowing footage, and I really wish that there was this kind of footage when Mark Duggan was shot, when Jermaine Baker was shot, when Azelle Rodney was being shot, in the hope that we wouldn't have to go through the very long inquiry process that we have had to, and the families had to struggle as long as they have had to in order to try to get justice for those killings.
Well, you mentioned those killings, but if you look at the figures, in the States, 156 black men and women killed so far this year by the police. Shocking number. One here in the UK, one too many, sure, but isn't a different campaign needed here?
Certainly, and a different campaign is taking place here. In the last 8 months, 3 black people have died at the hands of the state, perhaps more. Sarah Reid, Esma Hamid, and Jermaine Baker, as I already mentioned. And so, yes, this is a different context, but it's not a coincidence that black people are dying on both sides of the Atlantic and disproportionately representing the criminal justice system at both sides of the Atlantic.
Aziza Francis, is Black Lives UK getting it right? Is it doing a different enough campaign, in your view?
In my view, I feel that Black Lives Matter UK have done amazingly well by bringing people together, bringing the community together, raising awareness globally. I think it's a great marketing tool to get your voice heard by the people all over the world as to the issues that are happening. However, I think there's a slight confusion as to what the agenda is and what are we asking for. On the 8th of July, there was a huge march from the South Bank with loads and loads of different young people coming out and saying, you know, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter UK and that march are two different people organising it. And I think we just need to be very clear about what is it we're asking for and what changes we would like to see, what policies we would like to see being made. And also...
Well, what do you want to ask for? What do you want to ask for that Black Lives Matter UK is not asking?
I would love us to be more educated about what's happening, not just in the US, but here within schools. I think it should be a part of the curriculum that young people are educated about the issues that have come up of recent, so they're made more aware. And banking and knowing about economics. You know, that's how we would get power to make change. With no funds, no money, and no understanding of our own economy, what changes can we make?
Adam, focus on those changes rather than killings.
I think there are a number of different issues. The first, of course, are the killings at the hands of the police. And the other are issues relating to immigration, which is why we had the protest at Heathrow earlier this morning. So we have cases such as Lukman Okosi, who's facing deportation at the moment back to Nigeria, where he faces almost certain death due to health complications. And there's also a third issue as well, which is kind of wider issues of racial inequality. So many people involved in the Black Lives Matter network work in education or are youth workers or advocates and those types of things as well.
But Aziza says Black Lives Matter UK should be described as a marketing tool. Is it any more than a fashionable hashtag?
I would say that the three words Black Lives Matter are very powerful. Is a very powerful slogan that captured people's emotions in a really.
Black lives do matter, but when we're talking about Black Lives Matter UK, we need to be clear about what are we asking for. We need to be educated as young black British people with regards to what our issues are, what policies would we like to see change. We would like to be educated around economics and finances to enable us to have a better future.
As we speak, people are gathering in East London in a mass protest that's where breakout groups are having educational sessions with young people, old people,
but
black.
Who knows about this? This isn't trending. These sessions and groups are currently not trending. So
they're not getting the publicity?
Yeah, they're not getting the publicity they need. So to march, that trends. To show up in peace and love and harmony, that trends, and that's great. But in terms of the action, what happens after the march? After we march, what happens next? The Black Lives Matter UK network is news to me. Black Lives Matter UK marching is separate. So I think we need a lot of support in bringing it all together and being very clear about what is it we're asking for. I think our voices are being heard. We're raising a lot of awareness, but we need to say this is what we want. These are the changes we need to see.
Adam, are the tactics that you use today, are they in danger of being divisive? You know, a lot of people going on holiday, a lot of people might want to rally to your cause. They might think twice after today, perhaps.
A number of different tactics have been used for many, many decades in this country. So you have organisations like the Monitoring Group, who monitor police misuse of power and police racism and other forms of racial violence. You have the United Friends and Families campaign, who take legal action through the courts to try to get justice for those who have died at the hands of the state. You have educators, youth workers, many different avenues. This is just one of many different avenues of resistance. And I think that one of the reasons it's come to this quite, perhaps you might argue, is an extreme form of radical protest is because many of these avenues of resistance have not brought about the necessary changes for the black life and black dignity that we all deserve to be fully recognised in this country.
Adam Elliott-Cooper and Aziza Francis, thank you very much for joining me.